Alright, so in this video I'm just going to show you how to make action listeners which help to make buttons do stuff when you click on them. And you can use action listeners for sliders, radio buttons, and actual buttons as well. So if you watched my last video, you would know how to create a frame and a panel and put objects inside the frame, such as a button I showed you and a label. So here we're going to do the same thing. We're going to create our label and we're going to call this whatever. You can use any Java editor you want. So we're going to create a new class here. We're just going to call it swing and put it inside here. Okay. And now that we have this, we're going to have to import some things for our action listener. So first is for import awt.star and import java.awt.star and import java.awt.event.star. So those are these two we need for action listeners. Now we create our main here, and we're basically just going to create another frame. So we have a new frame, and if you remember from last time, we have to do some things with the frame, and there we go. Let's import that right there. And now we have a frame, and so we just go frame dot, we make it visible first of all so that we can actually see it, and we make it true. And if you watched the last video, you would know what these things are that you have to do. And we make it so that it closes when we press exit. And lastly we set the size, and we just go 300 by 300. That's 300 width by 300 length. Okay, so next we're gonna create our button inside our frame. So we're gonna create our panel first. So jpanel panel is equal to new jpanel. So we're gonna add our panel to our frame dot add panel. Alright, so we have our panel added to our frame right here, and so what we're going to do next is we are going to create an object and place it in a button and place it inside the panel. So JButton is equal to new JButton. So every object we create is just going to be like this. So, and in the brackets, remember, we put what we want inside the button. So we add the button to the panel. So now if we run this program right now, we're just going to see a frame with a button in it. Now here comes the action listener part. Okay, so to make an action listener in Java, what you do is you go static class, and we can call our action listener anything we want. So basically we'll call it action, very creative name, implements action listener. So that's the algorithm for making our action listener. So next we go public. So this is, notice how this right here is a separate class on its own. So public void action performed and action event e. Okay, so now we're going to put something inside this. So in these two brackets is what actually happens when the button is clicked. So we can do anything. We can just create a new label here. Label is equal to new JLabel. I'll actually make it more obvious and create a new frame. So what this will do is it will create a new frame when you click that button. So what's gonna happen is that okay, there you go. So that should be out of the main method. So now we're gonna set frame2.setVisible to true, and we're just gonna go. We don't need to make this one exit on close, or else it's gonna close the whole program. So we're gonna set the size to 200 by 200, and we're gonna create a label in here as well. Okay, so all this code inside here will only execute once you click that button, this button right here. Okay, so now the last step we're going to do is we're going to make a new panel inside this JPanel. Panel is equal to new JPanel, and leave that blank, and we're going to add that to the frame 2, and we're going to add the label here as well. So now it will display. So the next step is, so this is our whole action listener that's been finished. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to add this. We're just going to go here, and we're just going to go button dot add action listener. Okay, right here. Okay, and we put new action bracket. That's it. So that all this does is it takes this button right here, and it adds this whole action listener inside that button. So now when we run this program, what's going to happen is that it's going to create a frame, initial frame, this one, and it's going to show the frame, and what's going to happen is that we're going to have this button, and when we click this button, you're going to get another window that says you clicked me. You can keep doing that as many times as you want. So basically what we did is we created a frame, and we created a panel just like the last video I showed you, but this time when we created a button inside our original frame, we just added an action listener, and we just made it so that basically it creates another frame on top of it inside this code that basically adds another frame to it. So I hope that wasn't too hard, and if you have any questions, just ask me. Next video I'm going to be showing you how to arrange objects inside your frame, and that is actually when it gets hard. When you don't have a visual editor, that is actually when it gets hard. So but I'll show you. It's not that hard. It's not impossible, but I'll show you. So stay tuned, and I'll get back